All right. Well, we just saw Earth to Echo, and the way this show works is we review movies in two parts. The first part, spoiler-free, we tell you whether we liked it or not and who we would recommend it to. And the second part, we get into more details, so if you want to see the movie, you can stop it before that part starts and not get spoiled on the movie. So, Earth to Echo. This is so many different movies you've already seen before. That have been done better than this. It's The Goonies and Super 8 and a couple of other ideas with really sort of violently shaking found footage camera style. Everything's shot in really crisp, clean 4K, nice camera that are supposedly the cameras these kids are carrying around, but it always... The found footage element of it is just things are framed really bad and it shakes around a lot. It never really develops into much more than that. We don't get to know these kids very well. We don't really get to know the alien very well. The alien's kind of cool and kind of cute, but not really much more than that. There's not really a lesson in the story. There's not really, there's so much that happens in The Goonies, and this movie was just moving from point A to point B, and they were using the found footage conceit to just sort of edit whenever they needed to and change scenes whenever they needed to. So it really felt like a kind of a shell of what I was expecting it to be. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it for the audience, target audience, I think the kids were all about 13 years old. I think I would probably go a little younger than that for the audience.
Yeah, definitely.
But, kids will watch crap all day long pretty much, so
yeah,
they might like it. But with all the great movies that are out there, like Neverending Story and Labyrinth and all those kind of movies that are there for the same age group, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a pretty shallow movie, like Dale said. There's not a lot of depth there. The robot's probably the most fun thing about it. And
he's
that's
really not on screen very much.
Yeah, and he's actually in a way kind of minor, but more minor than you would expect from watching the trailer. The trailer sells the robot pretty hard, and that was one of the selling points, and then it doesn't really deliver on that part. So
yeah,
but yeah, any kind of kid friendship, people on an adventure movie. There's just so many pieces of everything else and then they threw in the found footage for whatever reason.
Yeah,
which pretty much always goes poorly.
Yeah, so yeah, I think as far as like recommendations, like I think young kids will like it. I would say even when you get to like the age of the kids that are in the movie, you get even to like middle school, and I don't think this would hold their attention.
No, I don't think so.
It's just sort of bland and predictable and lame overall. There's a lot of stuff that they sort of talk about or explain, but they don't really get into detail. So that's the quick version. So we're basically saying don't bother. Certainly don't see it in the theater. But it might be a good rental. It might be a good time waster in the back of a van or something. And I meant that for kids. That's not like any sort of.
Thank you.
Yeah. My van watching habits are well documented. So getting into the more detailed stuff and the more spoilery stuff, there's really not much to spoil about this movie. It goes pretty much exactly by the book. The kids find the creature that they show you in the trailer. They have pretty much just the conversation that they show in the trailer with it, that they figure out that they need to help it. The only thing I didn't know from the trailer was that eventually the girl would join them.
Yeah, because I don't even remember her in the trailer.
Which they don't explore that really at all. Like, she just kind of shows up as an extra person. I did think up until then that like 3 seemed like a really small number of people to be involved in the story. So I was like glad when they brought her in. But then they didn't really do much with her except she got him out of trouble like the one time.
Yeah, she kind of took charge and became kind of this bossy little teenage girl.
Yeah, and there was
that was pretty much what she was.
There was a scene after that when they got captured by the government or whoever it was that was after them, where they were showing like through like it was it's all that found footage and POV kind of stuff, and I think it was from the kids' glasses at that point, where they're like looking out the back of the van, and the kid with the glasses and the kid that looked like a young Billy Corgan are having a conversation, and they don't establish where she is. Like the other kid had been taken away.
Oh, right.
And it like there's like 5 minutes where you just don't know where she is, and then eventually it turns around and like, oh, she's just sitting there quietly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like she didn't have a line in there.
And the opposition was really weird too. Like they didn't really make a lot of sense.
Well, it was bizarre the way they were like not telling them anything, and now you're recruited.
Yeah, that was like a really fast 180. Like, oh, well, now we need your help. This will go great for us.
And we're gonna let you guys.
We're gonna force you to help out and then do something you don't want to do.
Right.
In a way you don't want to do it. Because we're adults and you're kids.
By giving you the all-powerful MacGuffin back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All sorts of holes, all sorts of just lots of potential, I felt like, but then they just never lived up to it.
Well, and as cool as the like rebuilding of the spaceship thing was at the end, like as neat as that effect was, I actually think the one of the truck was cooler.
That was amazing, actually.
And that's in the trailer.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen that in 3D. That could have been cool.
That part's in the trailer. So it has this thing of like, I don't know, like for that kind of stuff, like go see Transformers. I mean, that's what Transformers does well, is like throw visual effects at the screen and be fun with it. This one it didn't have, like I said, like it would have been nice if they had the sci-fi thing going on as sort of a way to progress a story about these kids being friends and getting to know them better and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you could make this whole analog of, their friendships being over because this is their last night together, and it's sort of following along with they find this alien, then he has to go, but then they don't really explore that at all in the storyline.
Yeah.
Not really. And that probably would have been the direction I would have gone or expected.
Yeah, I don't know, it just feels really bare bones.
Yeah, it's almost like, what were we watching? Because we weren't watching character development, we weren't watching relationship development. There wasn't a whole lot of the alien on the screen, so what took the movie? Like, what was the time spent on?
There wasn't a lot of sci-fi, there wasn't a lot of... It was just basically, like, blocking out and shooting these scenes so that they looked like they were shot by these kids that were running around. And like I said, like, they achieved that to the degree that, like, the camera shakes around or you have POV and all that kind of stuff, but if they really did that with those cameras, it would look so bad on that screen that you would want to watch it.
Right.
So, it's obviously faked for the screen. So yeah, as far as like found footage, sci-fi-esque kind of movies go, like Chronicle is so much better.
Yeah.
And that's not a great movie, but that's a better example of, that's the one where the kids, like, they fall into this hole in the ground and they basically have superpowers. They can fly and they can like have telekinetic powers and they can throw things around, and then the one kid, I'm not going to spoil the end of Chronicle, but the one kid kind of starts using his powers for evil, so it's kind of an interesting take on that whole thing. But yeah, I just really, like, the first, 10 minutes, I kept thinking this is pretty much like a redo of the Goonies. But we never got... Like, the Goonies has so many more characters and so much more development with all of them. They all have actual arcs in their movie. They all have, they have relationships with one another.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's like there's the nerdy kid, and there's the kind of loner, mopey kid, and there's
the leader
kid with all the gadgets. Mm-hmm. And that's what they are throughout the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of have that one conflict where they leave him behind and they fight, and then that's over. And
yeah.
Yeah, and he even alluded to, like, well, I knew what I was doing, and then never really followed up with that either, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, disappointing.
Disappointing. That's a good one. That's a good word for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's Earth to Echo. Hopefully our review is not disappointing. Please check out, if you like the way we do these reviews, please like it, subscribe, and check out all of our written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.